Welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie. Today we're doing a really fun video. I'm gonna be reacting to bookish hot takes. I found these all across the internet. The majority of them I got from Goodreads, Reddit, and a BuzzFeed article. And yeah, today we're just gonna be seeing what hot takes the internet has. Comment down below a bookish hot take that you have, and maybe we can start some arguments in the comments. I mean, maybe we could have friendly discussions. I don't like drama. I hate drama. Anyways, I don't really think that I need to explain this video much more, so let's just get right into the first hot take. Not every book needs a happy ending. Y'all already know I agree. In fact, the majority of the books that I have loved the most and that have stuck with me the most are ones that don't have happy endings, or they have like bittersweet endings. I love a bittersweet ending. You know, where you like close the book and then you have to lay there for a few minutes and just process what just happened. Like, one character gets there happily ever after and the other character's whole family is dead, and so you're like, well, I'm happy for this character, I guess, but I love an ending that leaves you thinking. I 100% agree with this. Also, sometimes I think happy endings in books can feel forced. Like, everything came together too perfectly. Like, where's the drama? Where's, like, you know what I mean? Give me something to digest. Like, not every story needs to be wrapped up in a pretty little bow. If you love a happy ending, I love that for you. I always judge books by their cover. You and me both, girl. I mean, if like I hear about a book or like a friend recommends something and I'm like, that sounds good, and then I see the cover's ugly, I'm not gonna not read it because somebody recommended it to me, but definitely have a bad habit of just buying any book that's got a pretty cover. Sometimes I don't even read the back. So I do agree that a good cover is very important. I hate the tropification of books. Who wrote this hot take? Me? I could talk about the tropification, which is not a word, but you know, like tropes becoming really popular and like the only thing that's marketed about books. Like, it's really depressing. I kind of miss when just like the actual plot of the book was important, not just the tropes. But that doesn't mean there's no good books out there or there's no good books with tropes out there. It just, I don't love how I'm like, does anyone have any book recs? And people are like, oh, this book is enemies to lovers. I'm like, okay, and what's it about? Like, we need more. We need more like substance. Tropes are 100% fine. Tropes have been around forever, but I don't like that books are being marketed by their trope. I think a trope should be like a sub genre. I don't think it should be the whole thing. Audiobooks count as reading. I have a complicated opinion on this. I think yes. Audiobooks do count like towards a reading goal, or like saying that you did read that book, yes. However, listening is not reading. The actions are not the same, but yes, audiobooks do count towards reading. But I don't think if you're listening to an audiobook, you should say, oh, I'm reading this book right now. No, you're not. You're listening to it. You're not reading it. You should be like, oh yeah, I'm listening to this book on an audiobook. So I agree that audiobooks count as reading, duh. You still consumed the book, like yeah, you still like read the story, but you didn't read it, the action of reading. If that makes any sense. And you know, I might be the only person out there that's caught up on that technicality. I'm like, that's not the same thing. Yes, it counts towards a goal, because you consumed the book, but you didn't read it with your eyes. Audiobooks are better than physical books. Better, saying something is better than something is subjective, but these are hot takes. So, personally, I love audiobooks and I love physical books. I think they both serve a different purpose. Like, I'll listen to an audiobook when I have like a really big cleaning day, or like I'm doing something and I want to listen to it, as opposed to maybe I just want to sit and chill out with a book in my hand and physically turn the pages. You know, audiobooks are kind of like entertainment. Well, reading's entertainment, but like I think of audiobooks more of like, again, if I'm cleaning, I'll listen to an audiobook instead of listening to music or instead of watching a show while I do it. Like, it's kind of like passive. But then sometimes I'm in the mood for the actual activity of reading and putting the full brain power into that, because listening and just doing something else consumes less brain power than having to read the words and digest them. I think they're for two different moods. If I had to pick which I prefer, if I had to cut the other one out of my life completely, I think I'd cut audiobooks out, because the feeling of just sitting down with an actual book in your hand and turning the pages and feeling the process and just reading is just so satisfying. I hate playlists at the beginning of books. Now that's a hot take. Maybe I'm just saying that because I disagree. I love a playlist. I think it's super fun. Why do you not like playlists? I don't have their reasoning. If you don't like playlists, comment down below why you don't like them, because I'm very curious. I'm a writer, and if I ever get published, when I get published, I'm gonna do playlists because I think they're fun. I want to know what songs the person listened to while writing it, or like what songs go with certain scenes. Like, it's fun. Why do you hate fun? Books are too long now. I literally don't think I've agreed with anything more in my life. Why are contemporary young adult romances 500 pages long? No. We don't need to be doing all that. And like 99.9% of the time, it's so unnecessary. I would much rather read a short, concise story that has a really good structure and a really good plot, and we just hit all the points, than a book that drags out. I feel like a lot of books drag out. I'm not sure what that is. Why are books getting longer? Are there people out there that like long books? Like, what is that? I wonder what that is. Like, let me show you a literal example right here. I've got Twisted Love here. This book is like 350 pages, I think. Yeah, it's around like 330 pages. For me, I feel like anywhere from 300 to 350 is a good length for a contemporary romance. I mean, why does it need to be longer than that? And then we have Twisted Games, which is the second book right after. And girl, this one is 430 pages. Why? I haven't read this one yet, so maybe there is a why, but also just why. Here's book 1, and here's book 2. No, we don't need to be doing all that. How much do you have to say about these pretend people? You know, and there are definitely some long books that like deserve it, deserve to be long, or like I think the length is fitting and the amount of information in there was important. But I haven't even read this and I already know that this is unnecessary. This is unnecessary. Wait, I just thought of something. I would almost rather read like a series with 10 books instead of a series with 4 books, but all the books are like 800 pages. I'd rather read more books. I wonder what that is psychologically. Book to TV adaptations should change things. Yes! Finally, somebody agrees with me. Why do you want to see the same thing like in the adaptation? Like, you already read the book. I think a lot of the time with adaptations, something that really annoys me is people will be like, they ruined blank, whatever the book is. They ruined it. No, they didn't. The original thing is still there. You can go back, and if you don't like the new show, you can read the book as many times as you want. They didn't ruin anything. It's still there. Why do people act like the show is replacing the book? I need y'all to be honest with me. Are y'all dumb? But I also understand getting really excited about an adaptation of your favorite book and then it's bad. Totally understand that. Happened to me several times. But like, I'm like, okay, the show sucked. I'm gonna go read the book. Like, people just get really upset about that. About any changes being made, about adaptations being bad. It's like, the original is still there. I think that a book and an adaptation should be thought of as two separate things. And a lot of things that work in books don't work on TV, and I think that changes should be able to be made. Third person POV sucks. I love third person. I love to read third person. I love to write third person. I'm gonna pretend I didn't read that hot take. Why do y'all hate third person? I don't have a preference between first person or third person. I just am saying that I love third person also. Like, I don't dislike either of them. First person is really great to be like in the character's head and like in their mind while they're making decisions and going through the story. Yes, it's really fun. But third person sometimes is better for telling like a narrative, telling a story, because you're not so much caught up in the character's head and like why they're doing the things that they're doing. You're just kind of reading the tale of why they did what they did. So I think there's a time and a place for either or, and I think different genres lean more towards one or the other, but I don't understand the hatred. Also, I have read several books in first person that have icked me out because they're trying to be like funny and quirky and in the character's head, and I don't think I've ever read a book in third person that's given me the ick, narratively. Consider that. Prose over plot. Yeah, I mean, not much to say, just, yeah. I would much rather read a book that, you know, really nothing happens, but the prose is good. Like, it sounds good to read. It really, it's satisfying, it's told beautifully, things are described really, you know, detailed, as opposed to a book that has really great plot, but the prose is so bad, like, it makes me want to pour bleach in my eyes. Have you ever read a book with like bad sentence structure? It physically hurts. I think bad prose ruins any book. Obviously though, books should have good plot. But yes, prose over plot, 100%. Hardcover books suck. Again, I think there's a time and a place. I think hardcovers can be really satisfying to like hold. They're very sturdy, you know what I mean? There is nothing like a floppy paperback that's satisfying too. I think there's a time and a place, although I will say this, y'all, imagine if Iron Flame was paperback. Imagine this was paperback. I think longer books are easier to read in hardcover format. Back to this is a little bit, when there's so many pages, it's like you can't even like open the book all the way. But with a hardcover, that's not a problem. So that's interesting. I do agree, I prefer paperback. I think they're a little easier to hold and a little easier to store, but claiming that hardbacks suck, that's a hot take. I much prefer standalones to series. That's tea. I've never thought about what I prefer. I love a good standalone, but a series is so fun. I will say, I think if a standalone can like stick with me and like I remember the characters, I remember the impact it had on me, then great. But that happens more often with series, obviously, because you spend more time with the characters, but that's almost fun. Like, you get to spend time with them and watch the characters that you love go through lots of different things. Honestly, I don't prefer one or the other. I think they're both great. Epilogues ruin books. I think that they can, but sometimes I love an epilogue. I think when there's like an epilogue that's like just like a little holiday special or something where all the characters are all happy, it's kind of like, what's the point? But I like an epilogue that shows like where all the characters are now, like a little time skip. But sometimes like the cutesy, fluffy, no drama epilogues are like, why? I don't know if epilogues ruin books, but I definitely agree that epilogues are pointless sometimes. Breaking spines is the devil's work. Breaking spines is like a touchy subject amongst readers. Like, some people are like, it's the devil's work, like this person, and some people are like, let me do what I want with my books. I feel like you can do whatever you want with your books if you paid for them, but definitely don't crack other people's books if they give, you know, if they lend you their books to read. Don't crack their spines unless they're already cracked. But like, if you paid for a book with your own money, like, rip all the pages out for all I care. But I would never crack a spine of my books that I paid for, because I like the clean, sleek look of a new, almost untouched book. I think looking at a crisp book there's nothing like it. But again, if you paid for your books, throw them in a fire for all I care. Like, it doesn't matter to me. But I'm not a spine cracker myself. Rereading books is a waste of time. That's crazy. Not to be a hippie, but nothing is a waste of time if you like it. There are several books that I have that I would love to reread. I just have an insanely long TBR right now, so I'm trying to focus on that. But like, I would love to reread some comfort reads. Like, there are so many books that really impacted me, and I would love to dive back into them. I'm just a bit booked and busy in the TBR department. Dying to reread this. I don't know if it'll hit the second time, because I do already know what happens. I think that's what that person's referring to, is that you already know what happens. But the point of books is entertainment, escapism, comfort. It's not a surprise. I mean, sure, it's fun when you're reading a book and you don't know what's gonna happen, but like, that's not the point of reading. If that's your point of reading, fine. Good for you. So no, I don't agree with that. It's not a waste of time. Again, do you hate fun? Why do you hate fun? Stop. Enemies to lovers only works in fantasy. Baby, that's not a hot take. That is the truth. I've talked about this in like 4 different videos at this point. Enemies to lovers does not work in any other genre besides fantasy. Let me say that again. Enemies to lovers does not work in like the contemporary romance genre. They are never enemies. Dislike to love or like rivals to lovers, that's free game. But enemies to lovers, no. You can't really have an enemy in this world. So this hot take is just a fact. The final hot take that I have is wild. Prepare yourself. Fanfictions are usually better written than published romances. I fear she ate with that one. I have to agree. As a girly who was raised on Wattpad from way too young, a lot of published romance novels nowadays feel like published Wattpad, because you expect when reading a published novel that you're going to get higher quality than a Wattpad book written by a 15-year-old in her room, that it can sometimes be disappointing to read books like that. I don't know if I would say Wattpad books are better than published. The standard on Wattpad and the standard of what people expect from published novels is very different. I think there's a lot to be said about tropification, love that word, and its effect on romance novels, because they're all just like published Wattpad now. Not literally all, but you know what I mean. Yeah, But like, I've definitely read some books on Wattpad that are really great and stand out in my mind. And then I've definitely read some published books that stand out in my mind. But yeah, the amount of times I've read like traditionally published romances and they're literally Wattpad quality. It's crazy. So again, I don't know if I agree that Wattpad is better. I just think that people, when you go on Wattpad, you're expecting lower quality. When you pick up a physical novel, you're expecting higher quality. So when they're the same quality, it kind of makes Wattpad seem better, but they're actually kind of the same. Anyways, that's all that I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this was entertaining. Please leave some comments of your hot takes. I would love to, of course, calmly debate. I'm not gonna fight with anyone, okay? Please like this video, and you can also subscribe if you want to. I post a lot of bookish content. I post a lot about writing and a lot about books. So anything involving a book, I'm there. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can go ahead and subscribe or check out my other videos. But yeah, thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a really great day. Bye!